Hi Chelsea, Amy here. I'm sorry you didn't get any feedback on your rough draft in the discussion last week, so I wanted to give you some here. And I do apologize for this being so late this week. It's due tonight, so hopefully this will be just a couple things that you might be able to work on between now and then. I do really think you're in good shape, so there's nothing major here, but I have a couple of suggestions. One thing you still need to do is reformat all this according to MLA style for the actual Word document you're going to turn into the Dropbox. Right now it's Arial and I am not entirely sure of the size. So make sure you highlight the whole thing and make it Times New Roman 12-point font. And you also need to add your running header up in the top inch here by double clicking in the top inch of the page, going to your page number button, selecting top of page all the way to the right, and then type in your last name. Okay, so then jumping into the essay, I do think you do a good job introducing the issue as well as the ad that you're analyzing. In your actual blog, you will need to provide a link to this source, however, so make sure that you do that there. And I also, okay, just wanted to make sure it was in your works cited, so that looks okay. When you first introduce the ad that you're analyzing here, you would want to put the campaign title in italics, not quotes, and then the video title in quotes like you have here. And then you should also include the post date for this video so that we know what version of the video that you are analyzing. And then jumping into the body of your essay, you have good paragraphs devoted to each of the types of rhetorical appeals, and you do a pretty good job introducing each of those in your topic sentences for these paragraphs, like you can see here. There were a couple of places that I wanted you to include maybe another example or two, especially in these first two body paragraphs, your ethical paragraph and your emotional paragraph. I'll come back to that a little bit later, but otherwise you did a good job wrapping these up. Especially here. I did think you maybe could have connected to emotion a little bit more directly at the end of this paragraph. Your logos paragraph needed a little bit more work. You could do more to directly mention logic or logos in the topic sentence of this paragraph. It's true that you do say the message is clear, but I want you to say more directly that it is logical or the logos appeal is effective. And with this next statement, I can't really tell if this is your opinion or if this is the message in the ad that you're referring to. So if it is the message of the ad, then you need to add an attributive tag here. This is another place that I thought you could have used maybe a couple more examples from the text. So you say they keep it simple and straightforward with little extra distractions and that the language is easy to understand. So maybe could you give me a couple examples of this or a couple examples of this either through quote or paraphrase. And then just like with your emotion paragraph, I thought you could do a little more at the end of the paragraph to say, again, this use of logical appeals helped make the ad more effective, or therefore the ad was effective because of this type of appeal. Your conclusion does a good job restating your points as well as your overall evaluation for that delayed thesis. However, you make some points here including information from your supplementary source. That's not really appropriate for the conclusion. It needs to connect to one of your rhetorical points instead. And so here I think this is kind of related to what you're saying about ethos, and specifically earlier in your ethos paragraph you say the ad is ethical because it has different people state who they are and what they do. It automatically gives them credibility by the fact that they appear to be intelligent, functioning adults. And that's kind of similar to what you're saying down here about the fact that it is including people who are not struggling, or at least they stand and stay strong. So I would just move this stuff up into your ethos paragraph so that you then have a little bit more to talk about in this paragraph here. So you could just move it like that, and then this, as you can see, is a much more fully developed and robust paragraph. And then this would be a great way to start your conclusion. Let's see, some of this information seems out of place. It sounds more like background information since you are talking about just general information about mental health, I don't see how this connects to one of your rhetorical points. So I would say either cut it out or move it into one of your rhetorical point paragraphs earlier, maybe your paragraph about logos if you can make the connection there. And then this one again seems like more just information about the issue, and then some of this could go in your conclusion. So I really think if you're going to include these things, you need to break them up and move them into your earlier rhetorical point paragraphs, regardless, or excuse me, depending on which one they would most closely relate to, and then you can just connect this thesis to the reflection here, and that can be your true conclusion. And then as far as your works cited this is a pretty good start. You do want to move it down to the top of the next page. However, you also want to make sure that these are not centered. They're left justified, and then you can go to your paragraph toolbox under the indentation section, special, select, hanging, and that will format everything the way you want it to be. And then you can also alphabetize from there, and so that way your works cited will look perfect. And then I also did get a chance to check out your blog, and I just wanted to show you that really quickly. Let me pull that up here. Okay, so this is what your blog looks like. It's a really good start. When you create your post, you actually don't need this information. You can just copy and paste the actual body of your essay. You will need to include a few more links. You need to link to the Canadian Mental Health Association source here. This link worked to your ad, so that was good. And then you also need to make sure that if you move any of this information that you're moving those links as well. Okay, and then you can see some of this was formatted kind of weird, but I think since you're going to be maybe cutting out these paragraphs anyway, that problem will kind of take care of itself. You're also missing labels. Don't forget you have to include those labels, which are the keywords people would use to search for your blog. Whenever you are creating a new post, there will be a box here on the right that says labels that you can type in those keywords and just separate them with commas, because that is included on the rubric for the blogging conventions. Okay, so I know this is short notice, but hopefully some of that was helpful, and you'll be able to get your draft into the Dropbox by midnight tonight. Let me know if you have any other questions. Thank you.